Okay, everybody. Looks like we're live. Let's do it. Let's fly this Cessna Grand Caravan out of Livermore Airport, my favorite home base that's ever existed. Used to fly out of San Carlos when I started and then switched to Livermore. Ah, the memories and the realism of Microsoft Flight Simulator on the Xbox. V1 rotate, positive rate. If I had to gear up, I'd bring it up right now. So I'm going to be doing this live stream. I'll eventually get to Q&A, but quite honestly, I just always feel like the first 5-10 minutes, I'm just warming up anyway. That takes some time. I might as well have some fun. Wait till the crowd shows up. I guess it's kind of like, maybe like throwing a party, where you don't want to do all the fun stuff right away. You want to wait till your guests arrive. I didn't announce this anywhere. I suppose I probably should, huh? When I put the plane in autopilot, I'll send out a quick tweet to everybody and let them know that this is what we're doing here. But yeah, there's the beautiful airplane that I'm flying right there. Look at the tail, or the registration number. November 6, Bravo, Bravo, as in Brody, Brazil. And 6, yeah. Ryan Merkley's number, right, for the San Jose Sharks? That's what it is. So where would you guys like to go today? Do you want to fly straight into San Francisco? I feel like doing that. That's exactly what we're going to do. So you're looking at ahead, Pleasanton, actually Dublin to the right, Pleasanton and stuff over there to the left. Right below us here, there's 580. I can't get over how real this game, how real they've made it, to be quite honest with you. The sounds, the views. I mean, look, I'm right over the Regal Cinemas, the Regal Hacienda, whatever it is, 20, right there in Dublin. I know I've done this before, but it never gets old to show this to people, because this is quite honestly what it's actually like. It's interesting. I'm just checking the live stream for a while. It said no data. Oh, now it says excellent connection. That's good. All right, I'm going to bring the power back here just a little bit. I think I'm going to turn on my old friend autopilot. It's going to hold my wings level. We're basically just going to fly straight ahead for the time being while I check everything out here on the live stream, make sure that we're good. Have kind of a new setup here at the home studio. I've got my own separate monitor now for the computer, so I can actually monitor the stream, which sometimes is important because sometimes the stream has gone bad on me, and I had no clue that was actually happening. Let me tweet this out real fast. There we go. Yeah, we're on. We are good. I gotta watch an ad here for my own. Whoa! Why didn't anybody tell me there was a hill coming? See, kids, this is why you don't live stream when you're flying a real plane. Let's climb a little bit. You know, 1,500 feet was probably not enough to begin with. Show you where we're at here. Zoom in. Gonna be coming over Castro Valley's up ahead. Down that way, Hayward, Fremont eventually. I hear myself on the live stream, so I know I'm streaming. Here, let me put the autopilot back on now. We're at a little bit better altitude at 1,800 feet and no hills as we approach the bay. Oops, I didn't mean to screenshot that, but I did. What just happened? Wasn't paying attention. What a disaster. What an absolute disaster. All right, let's try this again. Let's actually pay it. Whoa. All right, maybe we'll try something else. Actually, here, let's do. We could do a landing challenge. There were some things. It's like landing in Alaska. I think I've done that before. That was pretty scenic. Let me just go back to this. Let's start the Livermore flight again, and actually pay attention this time. What do you say? Always like these build-up shots here. It's like setting the scene. Yeah, I left the power up too high probably, and probably went past the red line. I was not paying attention. That's a cool shot right there. Which in real life, you just don't want to do. All right, let's also change the time of day here. I feel like, with the sun in your eyes, it's just not going to be as pleasant. Okay. Let us take the parking brake off. Flaps set for takeoff. Looks like they are. Everything else looks good. We're lined up 2-5 right. Let's get out of here. Full power. Engine instruments set. Instruments are in the green. Airspeed's coming alive. Looking for about 60 knots. Rotate. Positive rate. And once I get to about 700 feet or so, I'll take out those takeoff flap settings. There we go. All right, now we're actually going to pay attention to flying the airplane this time instead of tweeting things out, looking at the live stream. People are asking, oh, let me switch over here for a second. What? I got distracted. We got some questions. Are we taking phone calls? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure yet. Let me get a little warmed up here for everybody. It's funny, I got this Xbox to play sports games, and quite honestly, I spend almost all my time on Flight Sim. And I'm not surprised by that. Fly into Modesto and or Stockton. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, Friar Duck, I did just take off from Livermore. Xanified, where are we heading? I don't know, actually. Bring the power back a little bit. You want to just go straight into San Francisco? We'll go right across the bay. Let's try and get there as fast as possible. Let me throw all the coals in this fire. And quite honestly, about 2,000 feet, I can level off here and pick up some speed. So yeah, I wasn't paying attention before. I almost, what's called CFIT, controlled flight into terrain. I almost flew into the ground because I wasn't paying attention. And then I overstressed the airplane, which I'm getting closer to here. Watch, see on the far left right there, it's got the airspeed tape. At about 175 knots is when the airframe can get overstressed. I'm literally right on the edge of that right now, so I brought the power back. I definitely don't want to descend too much right now because that'll gain me airspeed and get me closer to that 175 mark. I'd like to be closer to it than this. I chopped the power a little bit too much there. And I'm climbing a little bit. I mean, I can be close to it. I don't want to drastically exceed it. Otherwise, I will, in fact, break the airplane. That is something to consider. All right, Oakland Airport is 12 o'clock out there. San Francisco is going to be probably about 11 o'clock in the distance. What system is this? Somebody asking. This is Flight Sim on the Xbox. See if I can show you what the whole set. Yeah. Oh no, well that doesn't work because that doesn't work because then you can't see it. Never mind. I guess what I need to do is probably. I'll try this later. If I do, I was not set up for this. If I show you that camera and then I put that up on the screen for me, there we go. Now you're probably seeing it up on there on that camera, which is good. You can kind of see how I'm doing this here. So let me go back to the main view. And then let me go back to this eventually. Okay, I can see it better. All right. I mean, I guess I could probably just go to Oakland and we'll call it a day over there. I just needed a few minutes to, like I said, warm up the stream here. Get some people checked in. It's going to take me a second to dismantle the flight control here. Any beer tonight, says Aaron? Nope. I already had one. So, or I guess we could just go land at Hayward. Anybody feel like stopping into Hayward? Oh, look at Castro Valley out there. Nope, wrong way, wrong way. I always do the buttons backwards. There it is. All right, we're back inside the airplane here. Hayward, Oakland, what should I do? Let's just go over to Oakland. You can see the runway from all the way out here. What a beautifully clear day it is. This is kind of how it's been in the Bay Area recently. A little bit of wind. This time of year, clear skies. It's usually bumpy when it's this clear because it's windy. Ooh, Miles asking a good question, which I am going to take in a second. Thoughts on NFL bribes? What's that all about? Miles, actually, I don't even know what you're talking about. You got to fill me in on that. I've not been... If it happened today, I was not completely paying attention today. Full disclosure. All right. We're going to get into Oakland. Well, there's San Francisco right there, 13 miles away. I don't have 13 miles. I don't have the 6 minutes it would take to get over there. I'm going to put her down here in Oakland and then start some questions and comments. So before I came on here, I made a couple flight sim videos actually explaining things like real flying stuff, but doing it with flight sim as the demonstration. So we'll see. It's for the aviation channel I have. We'll see if those videos are of interest to anybody or if they help anybody. That's really what matters most, if they help people. All right, so there's the airport up ahead. I don't even know if you guys can see it. I know exactly where it's at. Whoops, got to get my mouse on here. Airport is right up there, if you can see it. Pull back there like that. Okay, we are wailing in here at 150 knots, so I can afford to finally slow her back. .130 knots now. We've slowed. I got to get down to about 125 before I can throw in my flaps. I'm in flap range now, so I'll give it first notch of flaps, which I think is 15 degrees in this airplane. Yep, 15 degrees. There's the runway. So by the way, Oakland Airport has multiple runways. You can see the north complex out there in the distance. I'm landing on the south complex here, which is pretty much anytime you're on, you know, Southwest to whatever, this is where you will land in Oakland. It's not always where the charter flights land, but it's where the airlines land. Okay, pretty high, got a ton of energy. I've got some altitude. Bring the power back. Really let that nose fall through here. Eventually I'll line up on the center line. I haven't got there yet. Airspeed's okay. A little slow. I mean, I'm not that slow. 78 knots. Just got to watch that though. Put a little bit of power back in it so we don't absolutely drop out of the sky here. Level off. There's my touchdown marker right there where I'm going to hit it. Hold the nose off. There we go. Look at that. Oh, right on the center line. Want some reverse thrust and everything? There you go. Simple as that. Eventually I'll taxi off, bring the flaps up. We made it, everybody. Should probably steer better than that on the center line. Get over there, Brazil. Where are you going? Usually you steer with rudder pedals, not with your fingers like this, so. Xanified giving that an A++. It was okay. I mean, if you watched it from the outside, it was probably pretty good. We'll take the high-speed taxiway here. See, it's a nice wide turn instead of a sharp 90-degree turn. You just want to keep that nose wheel right on the center line. And as soon as we cross these bars over here, they're called the bars, we are off the active runway environment. Just chop my power. All right. We're done, everybody. We're done with Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, I'm going to take this off here now, since I'm all done with it. I highly recommend, I mean, I don't know if anybody is out there getting into flight sim, but this flight controller by a company called Turtle Beach, it's incredible. The fact that it has its own like clamping mechanism built in, and a little hex key here to undo everything. It's a very impressive product. All right, take that apart. I just need to move this out of the way. I'll be right back. There we go. Okay. All right. We're good. We are good. Now bring back more of the YouTube setup here instead of all the flight sim stuff. Okay. Let me bring this back up. And let's see, we're ready for some live chat. Let's see if, put my mouse back on the computer setting. Yeah, Aaron was talking about any beer tonight. No, like I said, I already, in fact, I wanted to go easy tonight, so I just had a Coors Light. So tell me more about these NFL bribes. What's going on here? Something I don't know about? Do I think there will be a shortened 2022 MLB season because of the lockout, or even no season at all? A's Raiders Dub Sharks. Good to, it's Casey, right? It's Casey. Good to hear from you again. I made a video about this today, actually, and I threw out some dates. If you're worried about spring training being shortened, right now is the time to worry. Like, I feel like that's incredibly in jeopardy. Pitchers and catchers should be reporting 11 days from now, and that's nowhere near happening. And full squad should be there by about the 20th. Games should start on the 26th, I think, or 27th. So I think all that is in jeopardy. But is that important? Not necessarily. I'll speak to it more on the video, but I also in that video throw out a date that I think is imperative for opening day to get off on time. Eric Carlson and his wife is it Melinda? Is that right? They are parents again. And of course, congratulations to them. It's just unfortunate that, I mean, I guess for Eric being around, all that is, the best timing, but certainly the worst that he's going through the surgery right now and the recovery and everything that goes along with it. You know what else I'm noticing, by the way, is I have an extra monitor that's on over here. So I kind of redid my little monitor setup over here. This one I've always had, which is the multi-view. It's kind of my control for everything streaming. I took this TV. It used to be on this table over here. I wall mounted it. And then that allowed me to also put another monitor down there on a stand. That's my computer monitor. So I can always check the comments. I can always pull a comment up straight. I don't have to keep switching over here anymore, basically. It's really convenient. But what I'm noticing is that when I'm on like this, see like the screen right now, it's red. And so because of that, it was throwing like a red. I'm just going to turn this off and see if that makes a difference. It's kind of weird. It's like lighting that I don't want. I mean, I do want to watch TV, but I just had it on like the music choice channel. I'll put it back on. I'll see if I can find something that's good to have on in the background. There you go. I don't want to get copyright busted. By the way, for like the third time in the last probably 2 weeks, I've got a message from Twitter saying I'm locked out of my account because of a DMCA. Is it Digital Millennium Copyright Act? Is that what it is? A violation. I've probably posted things with music, like over the thousands of tweets I've sent, but it's like, take all of them down. Well, how am I supposed to find all, 30,000 tweets I've sent? I don't even know how many. It's kind of ridiculous. Let me go back to the. Cody, I'm glad you brought this up. I think the Sharks will be active at the deadline. You might want to be paying attention to my YouTube channel tomorrow. I have a video on that coming out. And there's multiple thoughts and theories on this. What you need to understand right away is that as a bubble team like they are, it's very unclear. I mean, teams that are definitely in contention are most likely going to be adding, as the Sharks honestly did for all those years, right? I mean, they were constantly getting players and pieces down the stretch that would help them out. But I think when you're on the bubble like they are, it's very much unclear. I think buying is probably the lowest priority. I think standing pat is a great option, and I think selling, if it makes sense, and you're not robbing this year's team of any chance to do something, which, that might be the case. Like if they're in position and they're contending, I don't think you want to take that away from them. But I explain all of that in the video, so that's coming out tomorrow. Oh, so Miles, you're talking about Brian Flores and Hugh Jackson. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I saw that. Did I actually see that yesterday and last night? And now I'm seeing more of it today. I don't know the entire backstory, and I apologize. It's just that I don't cover football. It's a extremely important human element and one of the sports industry. So I'm going to get to it. I just have not digested it yet. And there's a text. I mean, wow, this sounds. I need to get up to speed on this. I apologize that I'm not. I just have not been working lately. And I did see that $100,000 per loss. You guys are filling me in on this story, which I'm not, like I said, I'm not up to speed on. Owners essentially told them to tank and offered them money for it. Yikes. Oh, Adam, you were a fueler at San Carlos for a while. Well, depending on what years you were gassing them up out there, we might have crossed paths. I was flying out of San Carlos from 2003. Actually, only about 03 to 05, but I did my private and my instrument training out of San Carlos. Oh, the text was about hiring. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to catch up on all this stuff. Like I said, it's not something that I was completely privy to. I had no clue about this, but I just saw bits and pieces on Twitter, and I didn't really understand it, but I knew it was something that I would have to ultimately digest. By the way, before I take this next one, so you can kind of see now I've just changed the channel. Now I've got Warriors post-game up over here. Klay Thompson at the podium. Klay passed Kobe Bryant on all-time three-pointers made. That's incredible. Oh, three-pointers made list.
And for everything I've been through, I just really appreciate nights like this.
Wow, looks like Klay's going to break down there. Hey, Matthew. Hope you're doing well, too. Out of curiosity, what got me interested to be a sportscaster? That's a great question. And it's not something that is very clear to me how exactly it started. I think it was always clear that I wanted to do stuff in this realm, but I was immediately fascinated with broadcasting, with technology, with sharing stories, with being creative from a video aspect, from editing, from the production standpoint of visually sharing something. That was always an interest. I also grew up playing sports. And so the two around middle school, I would say, kind of blended in. And that's when, video games were popular and there were elements of I could edit a little bit. I mean, I was literally editing with 2 tape machines, which is crazy now. I mean, kids have, a high definition camera, the ability to edit anything they want with effects and share it instantly and have thousands of people watch it if they post it right. It's crazy what a tool this is in your pocket versus I need a camera, I need videotape, I need lights, I need 2 VCRs, I need a graphics device. It's amazing looking back how anybody like me was even interested in all that stuff because you needed so much to make so little. Now you can make so much with so little. So it was all those things that just got me into it. And I would say, yeah, around middle school, I really realized that this is something I wanted to do. I wanted to try. And quite honestly, other things came up. Like, yeah, I got interested in aviation and I'm interested in other things along the way. But this was always one that I guess I just worked the hardest at and kind of never quit or shied away from it. If I had to do this all over again, to get in this business all over again, I don't know how I would do it. I don't even know. I couldn't even explain to somebody how I got to this point. So many unpredictables, so many variables, so many things that just kind of fell into place, partially because of luck and partially because you have to put yourself in position to capitalize on luck when it presents itself. So there you go. Let's see here. Let me go back. Whoa, all the way back. I've seen my video when I fly a real helicopter. What was my first time flying? Well, I don't think I have a helicopter video. I did get to fly a blimp a couple years back. That was pretty fun. My first time flying, honestly, if you're talking about a small plane, I don't even necessarily remember it. But I do remember my first handful of flight lessons, and it was intimidating. And I got to say, I'm a person who, believe it or not, I don't like heights, right? Which is crazy. I'm not like a real risk taker. I'm not daredevil. I'm not, I'm into safe and sane things. And for some people, flying an airplane is neither of those. But for me, it really is. It's safe. It's once you get into it, once you're, properly trained and have the right skills and are responsible with the decision making. I also don't like, I was not a big fan of like roller coasters back then, which is crazy because right now, show me which one you want to go on. I don't care. But yeah, in my 20s, I was like, I'll pass. I mean, I'll do it if I have to, but I'm not really into all the sensations that'll make you throw up. And when you learn how to fly, there are some sensations that might, make your stomach uneasy. In fact, when I was then an instructor, I always carried a sick sack in my knee board so that when people got sick, I'd hand them this and then they would yak in the sick sack. So it was a lot to get over, right? To go through with the training. There was actually quite a bit of obstacles and hurdles individually to just get through the training, let alone to actually be safe and then ultimately become a commercial pilot and an instructor. Why did they put Timo in the hardest shot? See, I've been away from everything. Why did I not know this? He's not known for hard clappers. I feel like they had no more room left in the other categories. Random videos 1001. I think you just answered your own question right there. They're trying to showcase different players in different regards, and they're trying to take care of some of them and prominently showcase some of them and make people happy. And they probably look at Timo and say, hey, you know what? He'll do anything we ask, so this is the best fit for us, maybe not for you. I don't know. I mean, maybe he'll surprise people, though. He's a big, strong boy. But I would agree that, Brent Burns in that category is probably a different competitor than Timo Meyer is in terms of hardest shot. Hardest shot's interesting, too, in the NHL. For the All-Star festivities. I think it does have to do with technique. I think a large part of it, too, is the stick you use and how you choose to use it, the flex of the stick, blade of the stick. It's one of those things like in the home run derby of baseball, everybody swings a little bit different. The bat they use is a little bit different. So I guess kind of how you skate into the puck, how you skate through it, how you really use your lower body in addition to your upper body. But I agree. I think, yeah, that was probably out of convenience to the league, for sure. Marty, good evening. Thank you for being here. Miles, hello. Yeah, that's right. And we were talking about that NFL situation. I wish I could comment on it yet. I don't know about it yet. But now I'm really, really interested to hear. It seems like it involves a lot of different things. Super Bowl 56 next Sunday. Who do I have winning, the Rams or the Bengals? Even though the Rams are the away team in their own stadium. Well, apparently the way it works down there is they might have more Cincinnati fans than Rams fans. What happened like last weekend? I mean, I'm not just talking about the game for the 49ers. I saw what happened there. Why is it that they have a brand new stadium that LA couldn't figure out a way to keep opponent team fans out of there? And I have to tell you, in terms of fans, I've been to a Super Bowl. I've actually only been to one. It was 37. Was that the one the Raiders were in against Tampa Bay in San Diego? It was 2002, right? What you instantly find out about the Super Bowl attending it, it's not a home and away team thing. I mean, there is a home section and a road section, and usually they're on separate sides of the stadium, but the Super Bowl as an event in person, it's such a corporate thing. Sponsors and all the teams have reserved amount of seats. This is a way to pay off people who pay into the NFL all season long. And so I know we're talking about on the field Rams or Bengals, and I don't know if I'm the right guy to answer from an X's and O's standpoint. I mean, certainly both teams got there. Maybe the Bengals in a little bit more spectacular fashion. Although I'm just here to say, as it relates to the event itself, I don't know that, we're talking about the Rams being the home team, but technically being the away team. I'm here to tell you, it's an exhibition game where you could play this thing on the moon and it would be the same thing. I don't know that anybody's necessarily going to gain a home field advantage here because of how tickets are distributed, who comes to this game, who gets to come to this game. It's not like as many LA fans can come as they want. This is a very strategically diversified event in terms of the tickets, who gets them, where they go to. Is it going to be an odd vibe with Evander Kane back in the arena on February 14th? Especially because those are must-win games now. So, random, if you don't mind me calling you that, it's got a lot to it, right? Those games, because it's the Oilers and Sharks, and because the Sharks are a bubble team, and Edmonton has seen the highest of highs and lows throughout this season. Is it the individual aspect? But even as we break that down, like, does Evander have more to show his former teammates, or do his former teammates have more to show to Evander? And when I say show, what does that even mean? I mean, are we thinking because this is hockey, we're going, straight to the rough stuff? Straight to the extracurriculars? Don't you think the officials for that night, already know? They already have their assignment. We're 11 days away? They already know that night. I'm going to have the whistle in my hand the entire night. I'm ready to blow this thing because they all know the backstory. So why would you step into something obvious, take a bunch of penalties, take your team out of the game? You need points. So perhaps what I'm saying is that the most important thing of that night is going to be the points. And there, by the way, there still are 4 meetings left between the Sharks and Oilers. If you're asking me, do you think something's going to happen? First off, I know you're saying, will it be an odd vibe? I don't know about odd vibe, but I think the Sharks fans there are going to have mixed reactions at best about this whole situation. And if Evander does anything, or every time he touches the puck, I don't know. But even then, I don't think the Sharks fans and Evander, I don't know that the rub was right there. It just seems like it was former teammates and Evander. So how does this play out? I don't know, but I think maybe in the second or third or fourth meeting that remains. I mean, there's a lot of head-to-head action between these two teams in the final couple months. I don't know that you're necessarily going to see it on February 14th, but keep your eye out, again, for the second meeting in Edmonton or the third meeting back in San Jose, or maybe the fourth one. Maybe one team's season means a lot less by that last game, which I think is in April. So maybe then you see the extracurriculars. Maybe then you see some true emotions start to come out. But in terms of predicting, is something going to happen? I'd be wrong to sit here and pretend like I know something or that I could even be accurate in predicting it. Quite often, a lot of times, we build stuff up in our pregame shows, and then sometimes they happen, but a lot of times it doesn't play out that way. The importance of the game, when you actually get to that, I think that will rise to the top as opposed to redemption, retribution, or anything else. Favorite detail of the recent renderings of Howard Terminal that were revealed a few weeks ago. I'll tell you this, up to December, we had only seen ballpark renderings. So you kind of got an idea of what the stadium looks like. Here's the stadium. Here's the stadium. Here's a different view of the stadium. Here's a couple cranes, but here's the stadium. I think to be able to see the neighborhood and to see those renderings for the first time was spectacular because it kind of gives it more of a real feel. The ground level stuff of buildings that surround or will surround Howard Terminal. I think those are the, aerial ones are beautiful, but how many people are ever going to see the aerial shot as depicted by the rendering? So I would say all the ground level stuff on Athletics Way and those waterfront parks, those are probably my favorite renderings and new looks overall. I don't know what Thundercat is. I might be showing my ignorance or age. I don't know what you're talking about. Cody, who do I think will be the first number the Sharks retire? Well, considering that it hasn't happened yet, right? Like, you haven't raised a Doug Wilson number. You haven't raised an Owen Nolan number. I mean, that Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau are going to have their numbers at some point up there, right? A 12 and a 19, side by side, let's hope. Who goes up first? If it came down to those two. I mean, Patty was the one drafted by the Sharks in 97. Jumbo joined the team later. I don't know. I think it's got to be Patty, right? It's got to be. Yeah, he's Mr. Shark. Mr. Shark has to go first. But like I said, are we on a delay? Like, does Owen Nolan's jersey have to go up too? What about Doug Wilson? And I know he's a general manager now, but he was their first captain. What do you do? What's the precedent? Like, we don't have an idea right now of what the qualifications are for the Sharks to retire a jersey number. And by the way, did the Seattle Kraken, did they already retire the number 32 because they're the 32nd team? And was there something else that went along with 32 of why that was a nice number to hang? Did they already retire that? They're an expansion team. It just goes to show you that some teams are like real quick to throw a number up there, just put a banner up there, put somebody's name and number up there, and we've started. I think it's kind of weird. It is kind of weird that the Sharks are 30 years in and they've had a lot of success and they've had a lot of names and they've had some candidates already, but they haven't thrown a name and a number up there yet. So when they do this, I mean, it literally is going to break the ice, of a brand new step forward for the franchise. And as it looks right now, Patrick, is not coming back to the NHL at this point. Didn't get the option or is not part of the Team Canada in the Olympics. So there's that too. And you would have thought that would have happened without the NHL players. So could this happen as soon as next year, 2 years from now? Patrick? And then Jumbo? Maybe on a Friday and a Saturday night back to back? That'd be pretty cool. Imagine that weekend. But are we missing somebody else? Probably Patty and Joe first. Probably Patty going first. Donnell, I see you on YouTube. Where do you do the show from? Well, Donnell, welcome inside my home studio. Literally at home right now. That's what this is. I appreciate you if you're new here and you found this. I do videos here from time to time. I record some of them. I do live streams sometimes. I'm an idiot sometimes. No, actually most times. So there you go. But you've probably already figured that out. Let's get this legend more likes. Come on, guys. Who are we talking about here? Definitely not talking about me, that's for sure. Jacob, good evening. What's good? It's funny. That's like how the British say, "Are you all right?" Well, yeah, I'm all right, but no, that means, "Hey, how's it going?" But that's like how we say, and I know what you mean. What's good? Well, you know what's good is no, that's not what I was asking you. What's good? It's like, how are you? Oh yeah, I'm good. When do I think we'll be able to see our first MLB game? Steve Loke, if I'm saying that right. March 1st is a huge date. I have a video. I just put it out today on my channel. Go find it. Talk a lot about the situation. The whole hard cap thing, which could factor in. I'm going to make another video pretty soon too about the hard cap. It's an interesting kind of a dilemma, especially as it relates to the Oakland A's. You know, I mean, the A's would be a team where, you know, like I said, if there is a hard cap, that means there's also probably going to be a hard floor, and you have to spend up to a certain amount, or at least a certain amount. And the reason that would affect the A's is, you know, players like Olsen and Chapman and others, Manaea, others that you would want to have around for the long term. This might necessitate that instead of cycling through another group of players, that you've got one you want to keep them because you need to spend the money. So, but to answer your question, I mean, right now, you know, things maybe took a turn today, got a little bit not messier, but more interesting with the federal arbitrator being requested by MLB. Maybe that means progress will pick up in the month of February. But for me, if you're talking about, you know, opening day, I think March 1st is a huge indicator, because by March 1st, if you're not, you know, if you don't have something done, you're already expediting your spring training to an uncomfortable degree. How much interest do I have in the Winter Olympics? Well, appreciate the question, Kevin, and I apologize. It's going to take me an extra second or two to actually do what I want to do here, but I think you said, Kevin, the Winter Olympics? The same ones you can watch on NBC and Peacock? You know, it's amazing, Kevin. I always like the thought of the Olympics. I think it's kind of like an educational thing for me, because my sporting view is limited. I mean, I'm watching hockey, then I'm watching baseball, and there's basketball and football in between. And every fall, I always say, I'm going to start following soccer. I'm going to watch this team throughout their entire fixture schedule into the springtime. And I just, for whatever reason, it's just hard. And the time zone thing, the time delay, that's part of it. Social media, if I wake up and I find out that Chelsea already won or lost, I'm probably not going to go back and watch their match from, 4 or 5 in the morning Pacific time. So anyway, what I'm saying is watching the Olympics kind of helps me diversify the sporting palette, if you will, get a better appreciation of other things that I don't normally watch out there. Certainly, I can't relate to it all. I don't understand all of it, but I'm always interested. I mean, I'll always, and there's, the way it's covered, the way that I'm proud of our company, the way they tell stories, the way they give you the backstory. I mean, they spare no expense in the production and the presentation of the Olympics, which I think even if you marginally like sports, you'll be hooked on the way they do it, the way they present it. Okay. Ever consider being a part-time private pilot? My ex had a buddy who wouldn't stop talking about him making a lot of money doing that. Just was always curious since you learned to fly. Well, you mean like flying a private aircraft around? Because to fly for work, you need to be a commercial pilot, which I am. And then you could be an instructor and make money that way, which I was. I did that for the year of 2008, actually, when I was out of television for a while. I've thought about it. Career change is tough, though. I mean, number one, I like what I do. I like what I do now. I think to change careers midstream would mean that you have to take several steps back, go back to the shallow end of the pool in flying, for example. You make it a schedule that you're not fond of, assignments that you're not fond of, paycheck that you're not fond of. You're kind of starting at a lower rank. So I've thought about it, but I think it's harder than it seems in reality. You got to shoot low on the net to get the best read on the radar for the hardest shot. Marty, it sounds like you've got some experience in this, but no, that does make sense, and we'll see what Timo does. I honestly didn't even know that until tonight, that's what he was in for. I do think that the league is trying to just fit him in for that. It's not what he's known for sure. Do I see the Knights being the primary rival for the future? I honestly don't see the Kings as number one anymore. You know what, Luke, for the Sharks, I mean, look where they're at. They're on the rise. They're not there yet. Maybe in the next couple years, you get a Dahlin developing, you get an Oakland, you get Mario Ferraro, a couple years in the league. And the Kings, and honestly, the Ducks are doing the same thing. It's the California Three all kind of at the same spot. And maybe the Ducks might be ahead of both the other two. I hate to say that, but it does seem like that. It reflects that way in the standings, but I think you're actually going to see the Sharks and Kings rivalry renewed. For the last couple of years, it hasn't made any sense. In fact, it was Sharks and Golden Knights, to your point. Those were the two most competitive teams. And then, unfortunately, the Sharks, after the round one of 2019, kind of tailed away. That whole rivalry kind of just fell apart. And it just doesn't exist necessarily anymore. And I also think it's weird because, LA and Anaheim have geography. Las Vegas, I guess it could be Las Vegas and San Jose. How do they match, though? There's no inherent, A's versus Giants or 49ers versus Raiders like it used to be. There's no geography there between the Sharks and their next door neighbor. So they don't have that. If you look down to SoCal, I mean, those two teams have each other to beat the living heck out of. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with Vancouver and then Edmonton and Calgary. All three of them are kind of rivals. It's not a two tandem rival thing. It's like all three are rivals. It's kind of the California thing. Sharks are rivals with the Ducks and Kings. Ducks are rivals with the Kings and Sharks. Anyway, I know we typically tend to think of it as, A versus B and, boom, boom. But I think the Sharks' primary rivals are always going to be the other California teams. And I also hope it's not ever Seattle. I guess Vancouver now has Seattle, right? Edmonton has Calgary. Vancouver has Seattle. Anaheim has LA. So we're left with the Sharks having Las Vegas, I guess. That's the tandem. Damn, this is live streaming late. Well, it's not. What time is it? It's 11 o'clock. I've done this thing till super late before. JC, I appreciate you. And smash the like button and subscribe while you're here too. You know that? Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, what just happened right there? That... What in the world? The Santa tracker, that was on here from Christmas. There we go. I don't know what happened. Maybe I can't go from my live chat to, I guess I can't. I can't do it. Anyway, subscribe. Thank you so much. Sorry that I had some technical difficulties there. Oh, that was the 2003 Super Bowl, huh? No, wait, was it? I thought it was 2002. because it was not long after September 11th, I want to say. Was it months after? Wasn't that the Super Bowl 37 in San Diego? Nicholas, hello. The Raiders are beautiful, Mikey says. Oh, I guess we're going back to Evander Kane. He'll get booed. Yeah, the Raiders got destroyed by the Bucs. You weren't even alive? Wait, I remember that Super Bowl like it was not yesterday, but like it was 5 years ago, and you weren't even alive? A's, Raiders, Dubs, Sharks. I can't believe that Chicago hosted their own town hall and then acted so ridiculous when asked a softball question considering their recent scandals. Dylan, I saw this too, and it puzzles me at the very least. To know your organization has been through some things at the very least, and to publicly put yourself out there, which I do recognize, and I'm saying that's commendable. Like you are trying to take this opportunity to show full transparency, to at least meet with people on a face-to-face basis, to show up. I mean, they try. I would estimate that they were just trying to show up right there. But to your point, knowing that you would be asked about the beach situation and some other things, and then basically not only, it's one thing to cold shoulder somebody and dismiss it and just move on, and to not answer the question and just move on, but to do it with a nice polish, right? People say, like, he didn't really answer the question, or wait, that's not what I even asked you, but to really kind of stomp on it and be defensive about it. You're the one that invited everybody there. I was not impressed by that. They've got a lot of problems with the Chicago team, and it's not just on the ice, and even that's kind of difficult to digest. I mean, they've had some top-tier players in the last couple of years. They don't have a full team, clearly. And then they've had stuff going on behind the scenes. Yeah, that was upsetting and telling, unfortunately, too. Didn't really like what I saw out of that. And I only saw, bits and pieces, but sometimes that's all you need to see to get to understand, like, the talking point of the evening was that. Does Townie still do A's cast during the lockout? I believe so. I've been seeing the tweets. Honestly, I've gonna be very open here. Haven't had the opportunity to tune in like I do during baseball season here and there. But I believe so. I think they do it on a Monday through Friday basis, or maybe even not every day of the week, but it is regularly on. My thoughts on the whole mediation thing with the lockout. A federal mediator is interesting, and I don't know what the federal part has to do with it. Could you have not hired a private mediator? Why does it have to? I guess it matters where they're coming from, but so long as both parties see a trusted individual or trusted company with a neutral interest, that's probably the better way to put it. I don't know that it matters where the mediator is coming from, but it is interesting that it's from the federal level, which probably has a lot more backing to owners than players. And so I think the players, the PA has to go in on this federal mediation thing. I do think mediation, look, I'll be very honest, mediation should probably have been happening a month ago. You would think that almost like an arbitration situation, this would get them to the finish line sooner. This would close a lot of gaps between the two sides. You could do two things. Argue it out back and forth, A versus B, or you could bring somebody in and say, you're the C party. Help us solve this. And kind of lay it out, whether we like it all or we don't like it all, find some neutral ground for us, for both of us. So I'll be honest, I like it. I like the idea of it. I don't know that this particular path, it's like I like to travel. I don't like the road that maybe we're taking here. But I also think we should have been on that road, a similar road, a month ago. Like we left late, right? Idea on Washington's new name. Well, it's the Commanders, right? Boy, I did a whole video the other day about how that story leaked. Unfortunate. Bamboo Soldier, what's up, buddy? Who's on my Mount Rushmore of the San Jose Sharks? Oh, that's a difficult one, Kevin. We did a TV segment on this a couple years ago, and now I'm desperately trying to remember who I put up there. I want to say Doug Wilson was up there. I want to say Patrick Marleau was up there. I think Joe Thornton was the third member. And I'm not kidding you, Randy Hahn was the fourth member. Now, why Honor? A lot of you say, well, he's been the TV voice for all these years. He's the voice, and largely the face of the Sharks. Like, he's presenting you all these games. You associate him with the Artur Serbe days, the Owen Nolan days, Vinny Damphus days, Teemu Solani days, Joe Thornton days, Patrick Marleau, Logan Couture, Joe Pavelski. Anyway, on and on. But Randy was one of the founding members of a grassroots group that helped bring the NHL to San Jose. Like, Randy in the late 80s was pushing to bring the NHL to San Jose. Did you know that? Most people didn't. So I know he won't always go out there and flaunt that or share that, but I want to for him on his behalf, because that's an amazing story. How many times do you have kind of the front man of the team as a person who actually initiated getting them there, bringing them to existence? And that's why I'm serious. I put him on the Mount Rushmore. It's important, like every Sharks game you've watched, of the thousands probably over the years that he's been a part of, he's called the game. He rarely ever misses them too. I mean, he's done a game with laryngitis back in the day once. It's not just that. It's that you wouldn't even have all this necessarily without Honor. You wouldn't have a Doug Wilson. You wouldn't have a Thornton or a Marleau or anybody else that you want to, if you want to put Owen Nolan on there, or a Nabby or an Urbe, Pat Falloon, whoever you want to put on there. I'm just saying that you don't necessarily have the Sharks without Randy. So he's on there. And Patty's on there for sure. I guess the other two are Jumbo and Doug. So let me know what you think about that. Miss Towney when he was on 95.7. Those were good times. Yeah, you know what? It's funny how that station has changed, over the years, and different people, different bosses, different objectives, different shows. You're in Phoenix, really looking forward to spring training starting on time. I hope for that, but I'm also here to say spring training every year, it's so long anyway. So if that's the sacrifice, if spring training is just a little bit shorter, I'm okay with that if it means that opening day starts on time. But I understand what you're saying too. I love spring training. I got to go in 2020. That was my last plane flight. Flying back from spring training of 2020 in, was it late February of 2020? Yeah, it was. Little did I know about a week later what would happen. Jason saying, I know you mentioned before that Oakland having a football team is possibly out of the question, but with the return of the XFL coming next year, do I think Oakland might join in? Jason, that's intriguing. What I've said is that the NFL is kind of a ridiculously far-fetched thought of ever coming back to Oakland. There's too many other markets out there. At the time when the Raiders came and then went to L.A., and then came back, and then left to Las Vegas, things have made sense and not made sense over the years. I'm just telling you that, building a new stadium is a challenge. That would be part of the equation. They're not going to probably play at the Coliseum with an NFL team. Now, with an XFL team, it's a totally different story. But it's also a totally different thing and reward for the city of Oakland. Does the Coliseum, is it even going to exist anymore in 10 years, 5 years? I don't know. So I think it's a possibility, but I also want to be realistic about it. You know, what's their long-term plan for that? How long is the XFL going to last? Didn't they restart it already once? And then they had the original one, then they restarted it and shut it down and tried again? I'm not up to speed on that. I know it's changed hands in terms of ownership, but I think something like that is a possibility. Again, I just don't know if anything is going to have the same hit as the NFL does, and I certainly don't think the NFL coming back is a great idea. In the same way that I've said this before, and I'll be brief on this, I don't know that, you know, for example, the WNBA at Oracle Arena is the best fit. And it's not because of the team. Like, I think the league and the team, the Bay Area is way overdue for having a WNBA team. There's no question about that. And I also think it could thrive in Oakland. There's no question about that either. But you're going to put a WNBA team in a venue that seats 18 or 19,000, the old Oracle Arena. I just don't know if it's going to create the environment. And you want the direct comparison and equation. I mean, look at the San Jose Barracuda, the Sharks AHL affiliate. They've been playing at SAP Center. If you've been to any one of their games, you know, place seats 17,500. How many fans are there? And that's not a knock. I mean, that's just the honest truth. It doesn't create the thriving atmosphere and environment. Like, let's go to another example. How about the Santa Cruz Warriors? They play in a tiny little gym, and every time you see it, it looks like it's pretty well attended. You'd rather have a venue that just gets full and speaks to the event and the team and the product. I said I wasn't going to go too long on this, but, you know, I don't know. People talk about what's next for Oakland. I don't know that the NFL is even being considered. And if the WNBA is, great, but let's not maybe use Oracle. Let's put them in a venue where this thing is really going to take off and really do well. And maybe you put it on the Coliseum site. I just don't know if that particular building is what's best for anything besides the NBA. I'll say it like that. Luke, yeah, I feel like Patty could crack the bottom six. Yeah, of that Team Canada, I'm perplexed of why he wasn't on there. Oh, Las Vegas retired number 58, but not for a player in honor of the October shooting victims. Yeah, we're talking about jersey numbers, and now, hey, that one means something special. I'm just saying, like, Seattle doing it for being a team, the 32nd team. Here's our fans. It's like, yeah, okay, but you still. And with that said, you threw up a number and a name, but you didn't retire a player, right? So Sharks are 31 years in. They've got to figure out who is going to be there first. Do I think Olsen could fetch a couple top 100 prospects in a trade? Yeah, probably. That's another thing. That's another thing that's rough about this lockout is that, you know, a lot of A's fans are kind of hanging on the edge of like, what's going to happen here with the team? I'll make a video about this in the very near future. It's kind of frustrating right now, though, to be in this middle ground of, well, is there going to be a hard cap with a hard cap floor? And if that's the case, do the A's need to spend a certain amount? Might they throw more money instantly at a Chapman or, in this case, a Matt Olson? Or does the end of the labor stoppage mean, okay, finances don't really change from a team perspective, and we haven't been able to make these moves, but now we're going to do them all real fast because the season is 21 days away. So trade, acquisition, signing, done. Like, the team looks totally different by opening day than it did at the end of last year. And there already have been some significant departures in Marte and Canna, and but I think that's another thing too that A's fans are kind of hanging by a rope right now. Like, what's going to happen here? Not just will opening day happen on time, but will there be a flood of moves across the league, and will the A's be heavy in that as soon as they're able to? Mikey, I appreciate that. Likeable. I'm going to tell you, of all the compliments that somebody could give in this situation where I'm just live streaming or the stuff I put out there, put myself out there a lot. More than I'm comfortable with a lot of times. But Mikey, for you to say that, I really do appreciate that. You are a diehard New York sports fan of the tri-state area with 9 pro teams: Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Islanders, Devils, and you want all of them to do well. Well, that's, you know what? That's a unique situation here in the Bay. And now we only have A's, Giants. We don't have 49ers, Raiders. So we don't have as many multiple teams in the same league, basically, is what I'm saying. As you have duplicates almost everywhere. You literally do have it everywhere. In fact, you've got 3 hockey teams. Good for you. I don't know that I could ever do that. Honestly, if I was in New York, I don't know. I think I would have to pick my sides. Who would I pick? Baseball. I mean, if it's the same me, I'm always about the underdog, so I'm probably going Mets. There's something, though, about the Knicks and Nets. I've always kind of liked the Knicks. I probably would edge there. Giants and Jets, I don't even know that I have. Probably the Jets, but I guess that's probably not the popular one either. And then the Rangers, Islanders, and Devils. I don't know. I feel like I might be an Islanders guy. I'm definitely not going to Jersey. Probably an Islanders guy. After this season, the modern Winnipeg Jets, and the San Jose Sharks will be the only teams with no retired numbers, other than 99, of course. Huh. That's interesting. And so the Sharks have not even retired something like, go back to Seattle, something for, commemorative purposes. Interesting. The stream setup looks freaking incredible. Thanks, Santified. I appreciate that. There it is. I have this monitor turned off again. It was offering too much of a reflection. I think when I turn it on, it's going to play some, whatever channel was on. It was at NBC Sports. There's Clay again.
He's my biggest inspiration for playing basketball.
Is he still talking?
You really miss him and Gigi.
He's talking about Kobe.
Clay, was that second quarter when you were making everything you threw up there as good?
He
as
passed Kobe on the all-time three-point made list tonight.
As good as you felt out there. Oh yeah, that was
23 points, 8 for 11 from the floor,
and
7 for 9 from threes.
I just really appreciate nights like this.
What a night! I don't know if you guys could hear that in the background. Xanified, I appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up. Yeah, I like that. Timo was clocked as the fastest skater so far this season. I was surprised I didn't see him competing there. Hey, Maddie, how are you? Yeah, I just think him in the hardest shot, that's a convenience thing. It's just a league trying to, put some puzzle pieces together. The Washington Commanders, it sounds like a team that we would see in a movie. And I don't want to say it sounds like a minor league team because that's not fair and that's not the case. But it sounds like a made-up team that you would, see in a blockbuster film. And their phone number would be 555-8787, right? It's just everything fake about it. It's almost like the name Brody Brazil. Sounds pretty fake. It's not. I should do a video on that sometime too. My real name. But I think it's hard in this day and age. You've got to be mindful. You've got to be appropriate. You have to appeal. You have to not cross any copyright lines, legal stuff. Somebody else has a name that you like if it's too similar. I mean, there are so many traps to jump into when you're trying to get this right. Which brings me full circle back to what was wrong with the Washington football team. And maybe if you wanted to class it up, Washington Football Club. I mean, what? I know it's a mouthful. I also realize it gets away from the format of North American sports. City name, team mascot, right? The so-and-so, so-and-sos. Here's where they're from and here's their mascot. But if I watch enough, English football, English soccer, they all kind of have that. Something FC. All right, this is the Washington Football Club. I like what the MLS is doing in not having all of its teams follow the team city, team name format. Just call them a name. I actually liked the Washington football team. And maybe club would have been better. And I feel like if they had hung on to that name was such a splash of cold water when it first came out. But it was also very necessary and very deserved. But the name, the name itself was a bit jarring at first. But I feel like it made so many strides in the first couple years that if they did that, if they kept that name for another 2 years, they could have kept it for another 5 decades. I feel like it was catching on. And it wasn't bad, and it was unique, and people started getting used to it. So I hate to say it, I'm almost sad to see it go and the Commanders come in. Kept the same colors. I like what they did. I like that W. It's cool. It's sleek. Everything they did was fine from a visual standpoint. It just Commanders. I don't know. Commandos? I don't know. Alden, yes, I did see the Mario pictures. It reminded me a lot of Logan's pictures from a couple years back. Oh, yeah. Got to say, it looks better than Cooch's. Yeah. Still can't believe he came back so quickly. I agree. And you know what? I'm actually meant to send him a text before he came back. Once I knew he was okay. I think it's incredible. It really is. He could have easily taken the break, got right, came back, and people still would have thought that it was impressive, his return. But, yeah, that's hockey for you. He still has one of the best smiles on the team. It looks quite different right now. Good morning. Where are you? Where are you that it's morning? Are you across the pond? Are you in Europe? A couple years, the Sharks and Vegas were the best rivalry in the NHL. Yeah, it was definitely up there. Marty, being a pilot is cool, but yeah, one of the coolest jobs in the world. I think I made the right choice, so I appreciate that. Diversity is nice though too, right? Sharks' biggest rival is the refs. It feels like that sometimes, no question. All right, Santified agrees. Hey, it would be great to run into everybody at the Coliseum one day. You always go on Friday nights. Yeah, well, the crowds are pretty rowdy and lively out there on Friday nights, that's for sure. Should we worry about Olsen and Chappie's future? Ruben, I got to be very transparent with you. And if you know me, you know how I feel specifically about those two individuals. I think it's inevitable that, with the stadium getting this close and trying to recycle your team in time to be doing quite well when the stadium comes out, like, I hate to say, but it does kind of seem like that's in the cards. But to what extent and to win? But let me also say, if this new CBA gets sorted out and there's a cap floor that the A's have to meet, why would you go out and spend money on other people? Why wouldn't you not spend it on the ones you already have? And maybe that's why they were slow to do anything, right? They weren't going to do anything until this labor stoppage was over, till they understand the framework of what they're even dealing with. I think that's why a lot of teams probably did it or didn't do anything. So, I mean, should we worry about it? Yeah. At the same respect, you also know that a trade involving those players is going to net you back some incredible things. I don't want to see that, though. I get it. I'm with you. We've grown to love these guys as, first off, big league ball players, big league rookies in 2017 to, impact players, all-stars, gold glovers, platinum glovers. I think things are becoming more clear with the franchise, what they're going to have to do. And I've said all this all along. If this next baseball season brings certainty on Howard Terminal, kind of how could you stress out about anything else? Like, how could you? Everything else would kind of make a little bit more sense in terms of the timeline and a potential reset for the team. As much as I hate to say that. or, say it that way, involving those individuals. Oh, great question here. Does the state of California technically own Howard Terminal, and what legislative body in California votes in the vote that needs to happen down the line? Well, first off, there's multiple votes that still need to happen. They need to reclassify the port land as basically not being a priority for the port. So there's a transfer that needs to take place. Look, there's the EIR that needs to get voted on too. There are several things. The port owns the land, and I believe it would be leased to the A's, if I'm correct on that. I mean, this is kind of the stuff that is like so far deep, and it's not even the pivotal stuff at this point. So forgive me, but from my understanding, I think there's a lease that would happen from the port for the land. Couple more here. How do I feel about Mark Kotze as the new A's manager? And, it's surrounded by experience in a group, a coaching staff that was already intact. Brad Osma is coming around. I mean, he's got managerial experience. Kotze has, been with these guys, a lot of these guys, for the last handful of years. I just think it fits in a lot of ways. Look, I love Bob Melvin. I still do. And I wish he were still the manager. But he's not, and that's over. I couldn't do anything about that. But I think in Mark Kotze, they have somebody that, has been groomed, somebody that has been there as a player, somebody that the players already respect on the team. So I'm pretty excited about it, Kevin. I really think that, in my mind, instantly when I started figuring out, okay, who's out there, who's already in the organization, what would be the next move. You saw Ryan Christensen, which was Bob's kind of right-hand man for a long time, go with him to San Diego. Kotze. That's instantly when I thought that's probably what they're going to do. And so I'm glad that's what they did. Run PMC. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Favorite minor league ballpark? I like Stockton. I mean, it's single A, right? And kind of have the Banner Island ballpark there, and it kind of have the water feature. It's kind of nice. Oh, speaking of that, Chad, good evening from Stockton. Yeah, I like Stockton, and Sacramento's nice too. There's something about a minor league ballpark. It is refreshing. It really is. I don't get to go to as many of them as I would like. And you know what? San Jose, Muni, for as old as it is, it's got some charm. It's like staying at an old bed and breakfast. It really is. The barbecue down the left field line, it's the way to go. Sharks Rushmore, only 4. That is tough. So hopefully you guys like the ones I picked. Oh, you adventured around Ghirardelli Square. Hopefully you made a few stops, if you know what I mean. I believe you can purchase some chocolate products around there. That's the way to go. Are you guys watching my stats? 40 people watching, that's it? Come on. Yeah, I appreciate, you know what? Look, I don't care about stats, but I do appreciate when people have my back like that. That's hilarious and that's awesome. Like, what's going on here? Shark player, Mount Rushmore. Ryan, I think you would do a great job if you worked on the NHL Network. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think, Ryan, my biggest challenge in that is that I've always been a Sharks and an A's guy. And when you're on a national network, but you're covering all the teams equally, you got to be as excited and as interested as what the Winnipeg Jets are doing, as what the Hurricanes are doing, as what the you name it, Arizona Coyotes are doing, what the Sabres are doing. You gotta be in everything. So it would be different, but I appreciate that, and I would definitely try my best. Your excitement for MLB is at its lowest ever. Sorry about that. Don't call it the MLB, by the way. It's just MLB, not the. I know. I don't mean to be critical. I really don't. All right. I'm sorry, AJ. I got way behind here. Andrew, hello. Hello from Japan. I know you're checking. It's probably like tomorrow late afternoon now at this point. Oh, man, I am so far behind. Coyotes should move to Houston. Yeah, you know what? Playing in a 5,000-seat arena in Tempe is certainly going to be an experience if that's true for the next couple of years. So, all right. I think I'm going to be signing off, and I think on that note, I'm going to play this thing out here. I just got really tired all of a sudden. So, this one says chill beat, so I will play this chill beat out. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I just want to let you know that I have a lockout video on the channel right now. Tomorrow I have Sharks trade deadline preview coming out. And I'll have a bunch of other interesting things, I hope interesting for you, down the line. So make sure you subscribed, tell others to do the same, and be safe. I will talk to you soon. All right, see ya.